We speak and communicate daily by the medium of languages, some spoken more than the others. In fact, languages are so important to us that we have witnessed them become weapons to collect votes, causing riots and discrimination among speakers of different languages. Additionally, India has lost 220 languages in the past 5 decades, with increased language death in the northeastern part of India. Why so?
As we mapped various reasons to understand the statuses of languages in India, we realize how English has become our common language and a major medium of communication in the world of trade and digital spaces. Globalization, which means connecting the world and driving deeper economic, social, and cultural integration worldwide, creates contact zones, physically by immigration and virtually by technological advancements. These contact zones required homogenization in order to communicate, and hence English and Hindi were adopted by masses. This results in a linguistic hierarchy in this economy driven world, which on the flip side stifles the local languages, dialects, and accents, creating a perception of a community towards the language as undervalued and having lower functionality. Linguistic hierarchy functions in relation in an economic model, but if we trace the history of how hierarchy is a deep rooted concept,
We date back to 1500 BC. In the early Vedic period, as written in Rig Veda, there existed four Varnas: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It was an occupation based division which allowed flexibility and mobility to shift between Varnas based on occupation and merit. Moving into Itihasic and Dharmshastra period, we saw emergence of jatis, birthed from intermarriages between Varnas. There was a rise in Jainism and Buddhism, and Pali and Prakrit were used to preach the religion. Although this was a birth based system, certain hierarchy was introduced. Mobility between Varnas and Jati prevailed. During the Gupta reign, we see a revival of Sanskrit as Guptas were strict followers of Hinduism. Economy was flourishing under Guptas and Jati proliferated further.
Mughals invaded the Indian subcontinent and established their hegemony. As they looted and exploited India and its resources, the progress of Indian masses was stifled. There was an environment of despair and no economic growth. Due to limited resources, occupations became hereditary, rigidifying the Varna system and collapsing the social mobility. As we reached the colonial period, Indians had complex and multiple identities. There was no single category that people nationally claimed, and hence the British imposed the Western framework of caste and formalized hierarchy, which led to competing economic interests. After India gained independence, institutionalization of caste identities through policies like reservation led to political mobilization influenced by caste, asserting the intercaste competition.
This gradual formation of hierarchy and its rigidification was essentially socio cultural in nature. And with globalization, we transcend into a socio economic hierarchical structure with reduced diversity tolerance, which reflects in the linguistic vitality or statuses of Indian languages. Approaching interactions with linguistic empathy and recognizing that every language strengthens the cultural and intellectual fabric of the nation, we as individuals should not only respect and learn from each other's languages but also engage in personal and societal actions that preserve, protect, and celebrate our shared multilingual heritage.
Our systemic study shows that it becomes vital for communities to coexist with mutual respect. This coexistence is essential to maintain balance and prevent the homogenization of cultures, ensuring that every language and identity has the space to thrive.